Behind every great product is a great seal. Join us at the crossroads of preeminent product design engineering, seal mastery, and supply chain excellence, and learn from the makers of our future.
Hello and welcome to Makers of Our Future. I'm excited you're joining us today to hear from the people behind the products that are changing the world and voices from the seal industry that's making all that possible. Here at Darcoid, we decided to make this podcast as a searchable store of knowledge, something you can count on when you're specifying your next seal. My name is Bill Sharrett. I'm Senior Vice President of Business Development at Darcoid, and I'm your host for today. My guest today is someone who's starting out her journey in the seal industry. I'm delighted to introduce you to Faith Hruska. Faith has already distinguished herself at Cleveland State University and on her way to gaining her degree in mechanical engineering. Standing out in her class also got her noticed by Parker Hannifin Corporation, where she's now graduating from their prestigious Technical Sales Associate program. Welcome to the show, Faith.
Hey, Bill. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. I'm excited to see you. We last saw you last week as you said goodbye to a period with us. You had a rotation at Darcoid as part of your training program. How was homecoming? It's been a long time since you've been home, right?
Yeah, it's been, it hasn't been too long compared to some other times, like other rotations, but last time I was home was 5 weeks ago. So it's definitely great seeing the family and just being back home in my bed.
Good. Excellent. And you got to unpack your suitcase, right?
Didn't get that far yet.
Thanks for your honesty. So let's get into a bit about your background, why you chose the path you're on. Talk about the path that you're on and go from there. I mean, let's go to the beginning. Why choose a career in engineering? What was behind that, Faith?
Sure. Just from the beginning in childhood, like early signs, I was always interested in, how things are made. I was always liking to work hands-on building things. I always had these huge Lego sets. I would spend all day building. Next week, I would tear them apart just so I can make my own things. Right. I also really enjoyed watching, the TV show, How It's Made. Because I was just curious to see, I'm using this product every day, like how is it actually made? How is it manufactured? So as I grew up, going in high school, I was always good at, in math and sciences. So I knew I wanted to take on a STEM career. And with engineering, it's just something that I was good at. I was good at the math, at the sciences, and, interested in, again, how things are made. I wanted to do something and make a difference in the world. So engineering is, a safe, secure option. And also, just the background of my dad's an engineer as well. So he had a good input with me and my journey into engineering.
Right. So it wasn't too much of a strange path for you. You had some guidance along the way. That's great.
A little bit. Yeah.
Good. So let's jump to Cleveland State. Sure. Looks like you got very busy. All kinds of awards and scholarships. Made the dean's lists, provost's award. Looks like your capstone project was the NFPA Fluid Power Vehicle Challenge and Cleveland State overall champions. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so every year, Cleveland State, for our capstone projects, every year there's a team that competes in the National Fluid Power Association Fluid Power Vehicle Challenge. I know, a long name. And just every year, colleges throughout the entire country compete in building a fluid power bike. And, you see certain like frames, like a normal 2-wheel bicycle. But for my team, we decided to use a tricycle design. And this project was really unique. You pedal like a normal bike to build up energy, stored energy to use later on. And it was just really, that's a really neat experience, working with a team. We had a team of 8 people, and we actually got a chance to use a lot of Parker products.
Okay, great.
in our bike. So that was kind of my first introduction of Parker Hannifin.
Did you know anything about Parker before this project?
A little bit. I grew up in the Cleveland area, and Parker being headquartered in Cleveland, I always saw it. So I knew who it was, what they did, but it wasn't until getting into, engineering at Cleveland State. Parker actually does a really good job with, doing recruiting from Cleveland State. They actually built a fluid power lab in our college. So my first experience was a fluid power class I took in the Parker lab. And then after that, I got more experience through the fluid pike.
So you're back to the bike. Enough plugging Parker. So you're pedaling a bicycle, and your pedal energy it's not going to the drivetrain of a normal bike. It's a hydraulic accumulator. You're pumping hydraulic fluid. How does that work?
Yeah, so there actually is a drivetrain, so you can pedal it like normal, but there is an accumulator. So when you pedal, you can, build up the energy into the accumulator, or you can charge the accumulator by itself.
And then it's there's a button switch lever somewhere, and you release that accumulated energy back to the drive system. So how much weight does that add to a bike? Are we going to see this in Tour de France anytime soon?
Probably not anytime soon, but the bike is a little on the heavier side.
Yeah, I can only imagine. But great exposure to hydraulics. That's there's a lot of plumbing there, a lot of concepts.
Yes.
Really good way to get your hands on that kind of science, technology. Excellent. And you won, right?
Yeah, it was. It's kind of it's scary because the previous two teams before mine also got the champion. So it was kind of stressful on us. Like we can't end the champion streak. So luckily we ended up winning.
Fantastic. How many on the team? Was it a huge team or a small squad?
It was a fairly large team. We had 8 of us.
Okay. So how did you divide and conquer with all the tasks? Did you each take a specialty and a subset, or were you working collaboratively throughout?
Yeah, so we kind of mainly divided up. So we had like some people working on pneumatics, some people working on hydraulics, on the schematics, other people working on the more, logistics side of the competition. And then at the end, we kind of all went together to just, finalize everything, making sure that we were all on the same team and making sure that we, did the competition rules correctly.
But which bit were you working on?
Yeah, so I did some work on the hydraulics.
Excellent. Lots of seals in hydraulics. That'll get you very familiar very quickly. Super. I also noticed from your LinkedIn profile, you've had a couple of interesting looking interning experiences. Voss Industries in, I think, aerospace. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Voss is an aerospace manufacturer.
Okay. And were you hands-on there, or was it a support role?
Yeah, so with Voss, I worked as a manufacturing engineer. So it was less hands-on in the actual, machining manufacturing, but I did, have a good balance of working in the office and supporting the CNC department.
Excellent. And then I noticed Bowden Manufacturing. I noticed that it seems that they hire a lot of interns. How was that?
It was great. Yeah, we had a large intern class from colleges all over, and what I really liked about this was it was my first internship, and it was very hands-on. So we actually got to do work on the actual CNC machines and learn the ins and outs of machining like that way. And I just thought it was a really neat experience because it just gave me a really good understanding and, just a better perspective on the possibilities and limitations of machining. I think not everything that you design can be machined. So having that background of manufacturing and machining is really good for engineering.
No, really, I thoroughly agree. it puts you in that maker category, and someone
Yeah.
who knows how to turn apart stands apart from others. During these internships, did you ever have pause and think, what the hell am I getting myself into with this engineering thing? Or did it really continue to stoke the fire? How did that work for you?
Yeah. So with, my experiences, they're both in manufacturing. I think it was great to get my hands dirty. That's, part of engineering, but with, my experience, I did learn that I didn't want to do that for my entire career path. So that's why now I am in the technical sales role, which I've been enjoying so far.
Super. Well, I'd encourage any interns in the Cleveland area, check out those companies. I love the tagline on with Bowden for the outreach for internships. It's get your hands dirty and learn how to make stuff. I mean, it couldn't be more simple than that, right?
Yeah, it couldn't be more accurate and simple. And it was really neat seeing, because I assisted some of the engineers with a new product, and seeing, being a part of the design work and actually machining it, setting up the machine, making changes and getting the end product in your hand is just a good feeling.
Fantastic. All right. So let's talk about Parker's Technical Sales Associate Program. I know from my relationship with Parker over the years, it's a very prestigious program. So congratulations for making the grade. What was the selection process like?
Yeah, it was a pretty lengthy process. So for me, I first went to the career fair, and they had the technical sales option there. So just learn more about that, ask some questions. There's a few interviews following that, and at the end, there's a finalist event. Normally, they fly everyone out to Cleveland in headquarters for, I think, a 2-day event. The first day is a dinner, and then the next day is a full day of interviews. With COVID, mine was all virtual. So this finals event, you interview with all the different groups of Parker. So I got to interview with, EMG, with filtration, with hydraulics, fluid connectors, everyone.
So could you choose or have a preference over which operating group? Because these are very different. They're all grouped in the motion and control technologies, but filtration and seals are very different animals. Did you make a choice, or was the choice made for you?
Yeah, so they are all very different, but they actually made the choice for us. So, after the interviews ended, you just get a phone call saying that you have an offer from this group.
So it's rolls of the dice that have got you to where you're at right now. It's like I love the process and the path that you've been on. So you're assigned to the engineered materials group, the SEAL group, if you will. How does the technical sales associate program develop you at that point?
Yeah, so I'm assigned to engineering materials group, and going into it, my first thoughts were, how is there so much business in the seal industry? I quickly realized that there is so much more to it than I thought. And with the technical sales training program, Parker just does a great job of preparing recent college grads into transitioning into the real world, and in their careers. And so with my program, I started off in Lexington, Kentucky at our OAS division, our O-ring engineered seals. And I spent about 2.5 months here just learning the basics of O-rings and elastomers, materials. I also spent time visiting our manufacturing sites, seeing, how the process of manufacturing an O-ring. After that, I moved on to Salt Lake City in our engineered polymer systems division, EPS. I was here for about 6 weeks. And also, it's a nice transition because, with OES division, that's more basic static seal O-rings. And then when you go to EPS, it's more dynamic sealing, so a little bit more challenging. And so I spent, 6 weeks there. And then in January, I went to our CSS division in San Diego, which is incredible. This is our composite sealing systems division. So another, a little tier up, so composites for more extreme applications. And then after that, I moved again back to the East Coast to North Haven, Connecticut, and our advanced business unit. And then last stop was at Darcoid.
Okay. North Haven Advanced Business, those are metal seals, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So you kind of went up the value and performance chain, if you will, from what people would think of as basic seals, although in my experience, there's nothing basic about a seal. And up the complexity chain, exposed to different groups of materials. And basically the way the EMG division is grouped, they kind of group the whole seal line card, and I've got a line card here. It's a very broad group of seal types, but they bucket it into kind of centers of excellence, addressing particular, like you said, with EPS, it's dynamic seals and hydraulics and fluid power and so on. Very good approach. How did that inform your kind of education on what a seal is?
Yeah, there's a lot of training. So at each division, we did just specific Parker training modules of learning, understanding certain materials. Also, we did training with the engineers, like pretty much every department. So with engineers, we learned about the materials, about how to design the seals. We went through, customer service, pricing, procurement, every department. So it was really neat, just learning just every aspect of the business.
Excellent. So when you're in school, Cleveland State, and you said, you never realized that the seal industry was so large. What was the training and education like in elastomer science or seal technology at the engineering school level?
Yeah, so we took some courses in more like manufacturing engineering, and in that class we did touch base on a little bit of some material, but honestly not too much.
Yeah,
I think a lot of materials like them are chemistry based, so I don't have too much of a background on that, but at least through school having just a technical background of
how to approach
engineering
a subject
processes just really helped me to just be able to understand the seal business better.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, the people I've spoken to almost unanimously say you don't learn seal at school. It's one of those things you have to get out in the field. Mm-hmm. When I was hired into the business, again, like you, I had no idea that there was such a large industry. And my mentor at the time said, it's going to take you at least 2 years just to learn to ask the right questions, because it was a learn by doing kind of environment. And he was right. And it is an education process that is continuing. I'm still learning new applications. But boy, you've got the condensed version. You got the power of Parker behind you, and that exposure to all those different technologies and groups and people who really understand the technology. I don't think you could get a better, more well-rounded education. So that's exciting. And then you went to Darcoid, right? So you finished off your training. You're outside of the Parker family. We're family. We're obviously have a very close relationship with Parker. But what were your impressions when you came to Darcoid?
All great impressions. Not saying just because you are a Parker distributor, but it's like it's true. So even first day walking through the door, it's not even related to seal business. I was welcome in just like family, and I could just tell immediately that you guys are one big family, and then just invited me all open hands and just made me feel so welcome. So I had just a really great experience just walking in general, but more on the seal side, I realized that that Darcoid works to just manage the whole seal program for a customer from start to finish. And during my time at Darcoid, I got to experience all the different departments. So I started in ops, went through quality, engineering, spent time with fulfillment, customer service, sales, everything. And I really just quickly noticed, first of all, how much attention to detail that Darcoid puts in quality. It really does come first. I spent a few weeks, a good amount of time working in the quality department. And, once sales come in, they're visually and dimensionally inspected. We do things like material validation, just to trust but verify, just as another step of, quality assurance to the customer. And, with all of these quality checks, you are just able to, catch any quality concerns before items are shipped to a customer. And then if you do catch, something, a defect or something, you're able to work with the customer and the supplier just to quickly figure out, what went wrong, what was the problem, and how can we solve it. And you really, put so much detail and attention just to making sure that what you're giving the customer is what will work best.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's you're right. You hit on that phrase, trust but verify. We work with the best manufacturing partners in the world, but still, our customers they demand excellence. They're pushing limits. Sometimes they don't have a very big seal spend. That's hard to get noticed by the large brands directly. So we provide that intermediate layer, and it's a critical part of the supply chain. I'll stop talking about me. So quick, throw you off your off balance question. Before you, as part of your education, as part of your learning about seal, what properties or what property about rubber and elastomers was a real standout to you? Because people think rubber, it's stretchy. Yeah, that's it. Anything stand out?
Yeah, I think what stood out to me is how much they can go through. Even rubbers can withstand so much high pressure, so much high temperature, so much movement. And that really shocked me. You think like, oh, it's just rubber, it can't really handle too much. But
yeah.
With our materials, they can withstand so much.
No, good. Excellent. Okay. So what is next on your path, Faith? I know what's next, but tell our viewer what is next.
Yeah. So, for the past 9 months, 10 months, I've been traveling, our different divisions and training. So after this, I get placed in a territory as a territory sales manager. And I actually still don't know where my territory is going to be at. I should be finding out today.
Ooh.
Hopefully today.
Well, I'm glad we're doing this podcast now to give you something to take your mind off. Are you nervous?
Kind of. I have ideas of, what's open where I could end up, but still things can change. You never know what will happen. And it is a little scary. I have to move quickly. So once I get placed, find an apartment very quickly, and then pack up all my stuff and move. So that's a little bit scary, but I know I'm excited. I enjoy change. I'm looking for something new, and I'm really eager to just, start my career in sales. So it's just all excitement from here.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, look back to a year ago or so before you started the program. I mean, did you imagine you'd be traveling so much, that you'd be getting exposed to so much different stuff in such a short period of time? What's your reflection on that?
Absolutely not. Yeah. So if you ask me when I was still in college, Faith, you'll be traveling to all these amazing locations and just learning so much. I'd just say, oh, no, like who does that? Like, why would I be traveling all over the country? And I'm just so grateful for the program. And I've truly just learned so much. So everywhere I go, I try to be a sponge, just absorb as much information as I can and, make connections so that when I'm in the actual field, I will, be successful.
Oh, fantastic. Great program. Certainly looking forward to your developing career and tracking that. We're sorry that you had to go back to Parker. We really enjoyed having you here. I'm sorry you didn't get to see our our engineering test bench. You saw the construction of its new home.
I did.
But that's a big part of what we do. And I had hoped you were going to get hands on there, but construction happening. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay, no worries. I still, did get exposure to the bench and, saw the process of entire room being built. I feel like when you go into a company, normally their test bench, test lab's already built up. So being able to see some of the process of, what goes in to, building a whole new lab was really nice.
Excellent. So my takeaways are kind of a reinforcement that Parker's got a winning formula. Find the best and the brightest out there and apply long embeds with centers of manufacturing excellence and deploy where most impactful. It's a great program where the industry is the better for it to train people like yourself. And as a parent of daughters, I'm delighted to see young ladies take the STEM path and really get their hands dirty and get involved. So congratulations again to you, Faith. That's excellent.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
I think, we're just going to watch your career with much interest and hope our paths cross. And I don't know where you're going to go, but I would love to stay in touch and maybe we can do another podcast a year from now and see how the story's developing. What do you think?
That'd be a great idea. I would love that.
Cool. All right. Well, Faith, thank you very much. Do let us know where you're going to go. I can kind of hear the drum roll in the background.
And I'm waiting for the phone. I always have my phone on me, just waiting to hear it ring.
Excellent. Well, good luck. Best of luck to you. And thanks for spending some time with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Thanks for listening to the Makers of Our Future podcast. Behind every great product is a great seal. Learn more about how we can help at www.darcoid.com. That's DARCOID.com. The best seal, on time, zero defects, Darcoid.